Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training. Here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game News Sportswear. This week we're talking about why are we leaving performance on the table? We're making a case for mental rehearsal. And as you can see, I'm on location at Akron Firestone High School, home of lots of great swimmers, Olympians, All-Americans, you name it. This is a great place to train your kid if you want them to learn something about swimming, and swimming practice is going on in there, so I hope that there's not too much noise. But I wanted to bring this topic up again this week because it is science fair time at our house, and our son is doing his science project on mental rehearsal and performance. And all this did was bring up all the research that I already have read, but taking it down to his level, a 7th grade level, and breaking it down really made me think, gosh, why are we not using this on a daily basis? Whoever we are, an athlete, a dancer, a musician, a business person, any type of person who is trying to be their best can benefit from this tool. And then I stopped and thought, why don't we use this tool? Well, one reason we don't use it is because we think it's complex, and it's not. It's not, it's simple. It's like going out in your backyard as a kid, and you're out there and you're getting ready to go play your football game, and you're thinking about dropping back and making this great pass. You're in your helmet and your shoulder pads and your pants. At least that's how we did that back in the day here in Akron, out in the backyard. But you're out there and you're imagining all these great plays that you're going to make, or you're in your driveway, it's nighttime, you're out dribbled around, you're shooting the winning shot or hitting the grand slam to win the game and be the hero and run around the bases like that. It's that simple. But we make it really difficult. We think we've got to use all this time, and we think that we've got to be so disciplined to look at this and this and this and this time and time and time again over this like extended period of time. Honestly, sometimes that's why I don't use it, because I feel like, gosh, am I like focused and disciplined enough to watch myself do that motion like for 6 reps? It seems sort of exhausting, but it doesn't have to be. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But this tool that is so simple that you've been using it since you were a kid can turn into a game changer for us. It can change the way that we feel about our confidence. It can improve our skill execution. It can even change our motor control. It can help with strategic decision making. All of these things are the benefits of mental imagery, as Jensen is calling it in his science project, but mental rehearsal, as I call it, because I think about rehearsing like stepping into this scenario or into this body of this person that you are going to be when you get out there and you are doing the work. So it sounds like, excuse me, that's something we should be using every day, right? And science says so. Science also says, from scans from functional MRI machines, that our brain lights up when we're vividly imagining activity the same way that it does when we're actually doing that. And we know this. We've talked about this lots of times in these tips. But it's remarkable that research shows that it improves our motor control. Literally, it helps our muscles know what to do the next time we get in this situation, because our brain is functioning almost exactly the same whether we're moving or whether we're not. So what are the real benefits of this tool? Well, one of the benefits is that, as I mentioned, it kicks up our confidence. This goes back to power move number 1, choosing one thought over the other. This thought that we're having, this image that we're having, this experience that we're having, we can go back to and watch ourselves succeed. Now, of course, we don't manage outcomes, we don't control outcomes, but what we can do is remind ourselves of exactly what it takes to influence the outcome, the behaviors that we need to be using in order to get closer to the player, the skill, the performance that we are really trying to throw out there under pressure or in any situation. The other thing it can do is it helps us learn more quickly. Motor learning studies show that when we combine mental practice with our physical reps, we have greater skill retention, we have greater skill refinement. Mental images that we create help us identify patterns, they help us understand complex concepts. They help us connect different pieces of information and encode them more efficiently and then store them in our long-term memory, which leads to faster comprehension and better recall. All amazing things for helping us learn. It also helps us plan our attack, and this is basically, power move number 2 of helps our ability to respond. If we have already been there, we have already pictured what we will do in the situation. If the defender comes this way, I'm going there. If the defender comes this way, I'm going there. My muscles have already rehearsed it, and they literally know how to fire in that way. The blueprints have been sent during the rehearsal, and we're primed to move. As Drew Brees, the Hall of Fame quarterback, says, we have the answers to the test before the test. It also helps keeps us moving, even when we can't move, even when we're sidelined. Mental rehearsal has been shown to prevent regression, skill regression. It keeps our neural pathways engaged, it lessens muscle atrophy, and even goes as far as helping us build some muscle. You've heard me talk about the Cleveland Clinic study that they did where people imagined exercising and they increased their fitness levels. Seems ridiculous, but that's how powerful the signals being sent to the muscles are. They are engaging the muscle. They are literally sending electrodes there. The muscle is getting activated even though we don't feel it. And we can't forget power move number 3 in managing our state. Athletes, students, performers, all those who mentally rehearse stay calm. If they rehearse themselves staying calm under pressure situations, they have better emotional control when they actually get into pressure situations. If you watch yourself manage something, you remember how you're supposed to do it, and you know what it's supposed to feel like, and you've been there before, and it makes a huge difference. We've experienced the emotions before, we've already been through it, we've experienced the environment, the pressure, we've watched ourselves walk through it. We may feel the nerves, but we have expected them. We have a plan, and it helps us stay calm. This tool transcends athletes. It's for everyone. My son, who has sometimes a split lip, or he bit his lip and he's got an excuse not to practice his trombone, well, without even picking up the instrument, he can refine his motor skill and the timing, like the metronome that goes in his head, as he's mentally rehearsing the music that is on his music stand. Whether he's moving his arm as if he was playing, or whether he's just sitting there and imagining moving his arm as if he's playing, he is cementing that melody, that movement, that pattern into his brain. And as I've discussed before, and as I discussed at the USA Cheer and the USASF, which is stunt and dance, dancers benefit from rehearsing. They can confidently rehearse delivering their entire routine. Again, the timing, just feeling the timing. Like my swimmer that likes to work on his underwaters, we're feeling the timing of that kick. It's all about getting that rhythm built in so that when we get there, our brain is already sort of into that mode. What about students? Well, be the classroom in a new employee that's going to need to take a test to pass their CPA, or whatever the situation may be. All right, they can rehearse confidently delivering presentations. They can recall information for tests and use problem solving under pressure. They can rehearse all of these things and watch themselves manage the stress of whatever the situation is going to be. Then they're not going to be in graduate school like I was, asking the professor how much time we had, and her to tell me we have 2 hours, and me turn my head around and start crying, right? If we rehearse being there and know that we're going to be under pressure, but we can watch ourselves pace and help ourselves sort of imagine recalling up information, it's having the answers before we get there. And since everybody's getting back to the office, we can't forget about our business leaders. Business leaders can mentally rehearse negotiations, conversations, whether it's a great conversation or some kind of a performance review that's going to be tough. They can work on their public speaking skills, excuse me, and even daily interactions just to improve presence and their decision making. great for business leaders as well. So how do we use it? Well, we've got to be vivid, right? The more detailed, the better. We've got to think about the arc of the shot. We've got to think about how it feels, not just what it looks like, but what even the sweat on our skin, the sun on our skin, the smell of the pool, whatever it is, the more vivid, the better, right? We want to make sure that we are seeing it, that we're feeling it, and then we go do it as Coach Brian Harrison up at Baldwin Wallace College, where they are national contenders every year. That's his thing. We've got to be able to see it and feel it. Back to the timing, back to the pressure, back to the tightness of our muscles or the relaxed state of our muscles, whatever it is. It's about activating more parts of the brain and making the imagery more effective. We have to make sure that we understand that we do learn from failure, but we also learn from success. So going back to Manny Ramirez, our former Cleveland Indian, who liked to watch himself pound the ball before every single game, we need to realize that watching ourselves on video and then replaying it in our head, or watching ourselves be successful before we go out and we perform, primes us, sets our emotions up in the place we want to be, gives us a little bit of confidence. It's about learning from what went well so we can go out and repeat it again. We want to picture it all the way through and feel it all the way through. It's not just about big moments. We need to build this into our daily routine, whether it's 2 seconds here of watching us make contact with the ball and watch the ball go out there, or it's a couple minutes before you go to sleep, or it's before you get out on stage, or it's running through the whole thing. Whatever it is, building it into our daily routine, even just a few minutes a day, can make a difference. But we know this, the real magic happens when we combine it with our physical reps as well. Studies show that those who mentally rehearse before practicing physically are more successful than those who just practice. So we can set ourselves up for success by adding mental rehearsal to our pregame routine or to our pre-performance, whatever it might be, the day before, the night before, the moment before. Peppering it in through all these things can make a big difference. Because here's what we need to remember. As Amy Kyler, my former assistant and the head coach at Cleveland State, said during a game, this is no time to be thinking. So we want our last thought before we go in to some certain pressure situation to be a thought of us doing what we want. Doing what we want. So if we're a coach or we're a leader or we're a performer of any type and we're not using this regularly, we're leaving some stuff on the table. We need to watch ourselves make things happen. We see it happening before we get there. As the great mental performance coach Brian Kane always says, that things happen twice. First it happens in your mind, then it happens in reality. But this is a free, powerful, scientifically backed tool that can make our performance build in more confident and flat out better in any field. Our brain's already set up for success. We just got to use it. So my challenge to you is this. How can you fit it in this week? Can you find a couple minutes here? Can you sit at a traffic light and watch yourself perform at your best? Before you step into the box, before you walk up to the foul line, whatever it is, can you watch yourself and feel it? You know what your muscles feel like when you're at your best. Take a couple seconds. That's all it takes. Take a couple seconds. Watch yourself be your best, and then go do it. See it, feel it, do it, and you're setting yourself up for success. If you want your team to learn about mental rehearsal, I've got a 3-part program. Send me an email, juliej@ssbperformance.com, and we'll figure out how to get it set up for your team. Have a great week.